The Internet of Things is transforming a number of industries, including gas distribution. For Tech Republic, my name is Dan Patterson with Mark Overton. He is the Senior Vice President and General Manager of Cloud and Connectivity at Sierra Wireless. Sierra recently started working on a project that includes Microsoft Azure and Noob to integrate cloud services on IoT devices that increase efficiency and reduce costs, not just for other businesses, but for consumers as well. Mark, thanks a lot for your time today. I wonder if you could first tell me a little bit about how IoT devices integrated with the cloud help consumers and other companies operate more efficiently.
Well, it's great to be here, and Noob's a really good example of how this connected industrial automated solution enables businesses to remotely monitor their, in this case, their gas tank levels, so that gas tanks stuck on roofs of buildings in Mexico, where they don't know when they're going to run out of gas, and therefore the connectivity that we provide and the sensor technology that we provide working with Microsoft Azure allows the customers to monitor those gas tank levels and get them proactively filled rather than reactively running out of gas and then having to call the supplier. And that integration back into, through the cloud, back into the core systems of Noob enables that real-time data to be fully utilized and efficiencies, not just for the customer, but also supply chain efficiencies for the supplier. It means that they don't have to continue to just work and go around every single gas tank to see what the state of their fill is, but they can actually be there when required, as opposed to just generally doing a truck roll every month or so to fill the tanks. And therefore, they're saving money, they're more efficient. The customer is getting a much more just-in-time service. They can get their tanks filled when they need them. But this is a great example of how IoT, the Internet of Things, is fundamentally changing a business like tank monitoring.
Do you replace old sensors with new connected IoT sensors, or do you upgrade old sensors to become network capable?
So it's a mixture of the two. We are now designing and are seeing in the market sensors specific to tank monitoring, but there's some very generic sensors that have existed in the market for quite some time. Seeing a lot of innovation at the sensor level, fluid monitoring, gas monitoring sensors, but we have a suite of old and new sensors that we are supporting through partners like Noob, and working closely with cloud providers like Microsoft Azure.
What are, if we mark the consumer on one end of the chain and the gas source or the resource source on the other end of the chain, what are the critical components of the supply chain that have really been transformed by IoT?
So if you're looking from a consumer or small enterprise perspective, they're obviously now, they can monitor through a cloud-based service onto their device. They can monitor the fluid levels, gas levels of those systems, and therefore they can count and budget properly because they know when they need to spend to refill those tanks. But more importantly, as importantly, they can continue to maintain service and not have to physically go and check the tanks
Sure.
to make sure they've got those.
But what are the critical components of the chain, not just the consumer, but the other industries or the other components in the supply chain that are
So it gives more control to the end user. But what is the real transformation is back in the supply chain, as I said earlier, where the customer, the supplier is now no longer having to literally go around every single gas tank to monitor its levels, take the readings physically, huge amounts of saved mileage, manual resource having to go out and do this. They go there when required with the right amount of gas to fill that particular tank when it's needed. And that massively reduces the number of miles being done by these tank drivers, but also the number of times they have to visit, and therefore the number of truck rolls they have to deploy. So it's saving efficiencies, it's much more customer facing. The amount of information they can get off these tanks means that they can start to, from a modeling perspective, understand seasonality. They can start to proactively manage their estate of tanks, so that the supply chain efficiency is fundamental. And they can start where, not just at the front end, but actually in ordering the gas itself, they can start to properly, forecast their purchasing and demand profile based on a historical database that is being built up through these connected solutions.
I wonder if you could describe how and why you chose Azure as the cloud solution, and what in particular does Azure do to help you sort and analyze data in real time?
So, Azure gives us a complete integrated service that we're integrated with at Advantage. So we're a connectivity management platform, device management platform. So our job is to get the data off that sensor, off that device into Azure, and Azure can then diagnose that. They can put together dashboards based on the user requirements. So in this case, it's obviously tank and gas monitoring. How are those performing from a fill perspective? They can do it from they can feed that into a planner that you can then use to dynamically route vehicles to fill the right tanks at the right time. So that integration of the data back into the core systems of new, and its various suppliers, they can start to pull together a complete view of what's required, and deliver that information both to the supplier and to the customer through a simple user interface that gives the user a view of their tank use, and it gives the supplier that view and how, a more complete view of how to manage that tank estate. And that seems to be a really good partnership for us, where we provide the connectivity and they provide the application piece.
Mark, from your experience and drawing from the knowledge you gained going through this transformation, do you have any advice or recommendations for other industries on how IoT and automation can do what you mentioned a moment ago, which is increase increase efficiency and decrease costs? If you were to advise somebody else on their own digital transformation, what piece of advice would you lend?
So I think there are three components. One is on the device itself, having robust connectivity in that device to get the data off that device over cellular or a local network. That bit of it is critical, and that's where we focus. Into the cloud, getting it into the cloud, so that it can be then analyzed, and then making those dashboards and integrating it into your ERP systems and the core business systems is critical. So you're sort of looking at a partnership. You're looking at a partnership of a device organization, a connectivity organization, and a cloud organization. And one of the things that we believe in Sierra is that we can provide that connectivity and that integration to enable these type of applications. From a data perspective, somebody like an Azure, in this particular case, would provide a lot of the data intelligence, but actually the enablement of that, getting that device off in a secure and timely, getting the data off in a secure and timely manner off that device is something that actually it sounds simple to do. It's really not that simple to do, and that's a key component. As well as the application. A lot of people focus on the application. Getting that other piece right is enabling that transformation as well.